Cool.
So I guess we could start the clock.
Yeah, sounds good. So I'm gonna get into the flow, and then enjoyment. You have a whole hour to interact with them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's an hour. Oh wait, we're doing a half hour, right?
Yeah, we are.
Oh, I see. Okay. Sorry, as you can tell, I'm very lackadaisical with like record keeping. I'm just like, I'm channeling today. Hell yeah. Cool. Awesome. So we got it for a half hour. Let me put an alarm on for that.
Okay.
Awesome. So that's going to be for 12, 33. Okay, great. Well, I'll see you in about a half hour.
Okay.
Greetings, and how are you this day of your time?
I'm great. How are you?
We are perfect and are very excited to have this conversation with you. How are you inspired to begin this dialogue with us?
Okay, my first questions, and I think the reason why I'm supposed to do this, or at least allow this, is mostly about pleasure.
All right, and what about pleasure are you so interested in?
My first question is, mechanically, how does physical sensations turn into pleasure and pain from non-physical energy? How does that get translated? How does it mechanically happen?
All right, there are a few layers to this question, and we're going to begin with a more physical reality aspect of it to break this down. First and foremost, when you are experiencing sensations of physical pleasure, it is a blending of your nervous system and compounds in your body called neurotransmitters. These two aspects of your physiology work together to produce sensations you understand to be pleasure and pain. Now, with that being said, recognize that physical pleasure is slightly different than internal, more spiritual pleasure.
That's what I was noticing, yeah.
Oftentimes they can line up, but not always. As many of you know, there are a great deal of pleasurable activities in your reality, but they do not necessarily reinforce an inner state of pleasure. They may induce physical pleasure, but you'll still notice that the internal self is not matching that frequency of pleasure from the activity.
Okay, very wonderful. Is a polarity of pleasure and pain the result of judgment?
It has a great deal to do with it. Understand that judgment in many ways will induce largely what you consider to be negative states of being. When judgment is imposed, that is when the sensation of pleasure will oftentimes decrease, and the sensation of pain or resistance will then increase. The idea of acceptance and love being a type of energy that will induce internal spiritual states of pleasure. But as many of you notice, it won't always induce states of physical pleasure. And that has to do with certain belief systems that you have programmed the body with. So the body then does not match the internal state of pleasure that is more aligned with that of the spirit.
What are the beliefs that make that the experience?
Many of you have beliefs about the forces of unconditional love and acceptance where you are imposing judgment upon it. It's not for me. I'm not worthy of experiencing that. I'm not good enough. So when you go into states of love and joy, the body consciousness then is refusing to fully match that internal vibration because it has been fed belief systems that say it's unable to. And some of you even have belief systems that believe in many ways or say that it is wrong to actually feel that way.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then I think this leads into it nicely. When identified as the higher mind, is bodily pleasure experienced differently? Well, I guess you answered that. Yeah.
Okay. It will be completely relative and relevant to your beliefs about those types of pleasure. That will determine how the body consciousness experiences different types of pleasure, whether it be physical or spiritual aspects of pleasure.
Okay. This is a weird question, but and I'm not sure that it'll line up with the usual diction that you guys use, but bear with me. Does physical sensation seemingly caused by the external world reinforce the idea of the separate self? Like causative physical pleasure?
Not necessarily. Let's say, for example, somebody is performing some type of action on your body that induces a state of pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
That actually will trigger, for many of you, sensations of oneness, sensations of completeness, because it is a unity-based activity. It is the idea of another person making contact with you. So many of you begin to feel more complete, and the reason you begin to feel more complete is because that activity is triggering within your consciousness the knowingness you're already complete. You are one being.
Wow, okay.
What is also possible is people will place judgments or negative beliefs upon that activity that say, I am alone. So even when they have that sense of completeness that activity is helping them to tap into, they will look at it as something that is separate from them because of that belief system.
Thank you.
In a moment, we are going to alter the channel's body to plug in a wire so it does not interfere with the transmission.
Go for it. This is awesome.
All right, and we are here for you. Let us continue this conversation.
Okay. So I think that was very nice. I'll be able to soak it in at a later time, I suppose. My next questions are more lighthearted. They aren't necessarily things that I was really confused about. Confused. What permission slips would you recommend for seeing auras and energies?
All right. First and foremost, to remember that you are made of energy.
Yeah.
The more that you can begin to identify with your physical reality as a non-physical reality, The easier of a time you will have accessing those more subtle levels of perception, where you can begin to then perceive auric fields, as well as different energy patterns that are constantly moving throughout the spatial qualities of your physical reality. The idea is when you can identify with being a non physical being that has non physical senses, the sooner you will be able to more greatly perceive those types of energies in your reality. Because like attracts like, and in order to perceive something, you must be of a similar vibration to it. So allow for yourself to understand that all of your senses have underlying subtle energy detection capacities built into them that are intrinsic to their design. So begin to recognize your eyes are already designed to perceive those types of subtle energy.
Perfect.
Begin to understand that your ears are able to perceive various types of subtle energies. Same with the nose, same with the tongue. Understand that you can begin to open up the capacity of the subtle energy detection for all of the senses. Crafting belief systems that support you in this are also imperative, because many of you have subconscious beliefs that say only a holy person can perceive these types of things. Only someone who is gifted can perceive these types of things. When the irony is, all of you are quote unquote holy and all of you are gifts. Therefore, all of you are gifted.
That's awesome.
As are you.
Regarding energy work, I'm told that, at least from Bashar, you guys said that you don't subsection off parts of your body like the chakra system or anything like that. So I was wondering how you guys approach the energy body, and also, do you even do it in that way at all, or do you just work with consciousness itself?
We work with consciousness itself. We recognize that our body is a complete, cohesive unit. No aspect of the body is ever separate from another aspect. Many of you, because you are immersed in a reality that projects an illusion of separation, you then experience that illusory component of your reality when you project your awareness into your energy bodies. When in reality, your energy bodies are functioning as a complete, cohesive unit, one consciousness. When you can begin to feel your entire body as one body, all of the parts of the body as one part, and you then infuse that awareness of having one part of your body, being your body, with love and joy, ecstasy, bliss, passion, and excitement, you will find that all of the seemingly separate energy centers will work in harmony. It is the idea of having a complete and total full body awareness. To have a complete and total full body awareness will allow for you to experience your physical and energetic bodies in a manner and way that is very similar to how we experience ours. And it has to do with the idea of being zoomed out, letting the perspective be bigger. Because when you are very dense in your vibration, third density, for example, the awareness of separation, the projection of separation is very apparent. But as you raise your frequency, thus raising your density to a higher fourth density point of view,
You feel like the observer?
It begins to allow for you to be able to then see how all of that separation is an illusion, and what you're experiencing is essentially all your own consciousness. So as you begin to interface with your reality from that more elevated point of view, the easier of an experience you will have embracing your energy body and all of the different seemingly separate components as one body.
Okay. Does that include everything in your reality also? Like not
Yes.
just the body?
Yes, because what you'll begin to recognize at a certain point is that your entire reality is your body.
Okay, very wonderful. What It's an interesting energy, the whole orgasm feeling, and I was wondering because everything is non-physical. Is there any recommended way we could tap into feeling that in a hands-free way? The orgasmic feeling of just complete alignment with all the levels of our being. I guess that's what an orgasm is.
Yes, one of the ways you can begin to recognize the orgasm energy is by knowing you are essentially an orgasm. Your energetic frequency, when it is fully aligned, is just that. It is very similar to the vibrational state you experience when you have a physical sexual orgasm. Your natural state of being is very similar to this. You could say, for example, you are a gigantic orgasm. And as you begin to identify with that in a way that transcends just a sexual expression of that energy, the more you will begin to feel that in every situation that you experience.
Mm.
Because many of you simply say, I only have an orgasm when I am engaged in a sexual way that is very visceral and is utilizing the sexual organs. When you can begin to expand that experience past that one way of expressing it, you will begin to notice that that's actually the natural state of being of not just yourself, but your entire reality, because your entire reality is an extension, an expression of yourself.
Wow, okay. So, what is the judgment involved that make for me, for some reason, it feels lighter. It feels more non-physical when I'm aligned, as opposed to an orgasm in the traditional sense. It feels heavier for some reason to have a physical orgasm. Is that just a result of judgment?
It is partially because of judgment, and physical orgasms require a bit of energy in order to be experienced from a more masculine expression of that energy. When ejaculation occurs, there is a decrease in the amount of energy that is being channeled in the body. And the idea is, once that decrease then occurs, a period of rest is then oftentimes required, so that way more energies from spirit can be channeled in. Because you're utilizing a fluid that is designed to create another body. So it utilizes a great deal of the energy you're channeling into your body to enact that function of ejaculation. So for many of you, it requires afterwards a period of rest.
But that's
It can be very small. One of the ways you can mitigate this is before orgasm, charging up your physical body using different techniques such as yogic breath work and other techniques that draw in the subtle energies, so that way when you have the physical orgasm, you will have a reservoir of energies to draw upon, and it will then feel less draining. The other aspect of this is, of course, the belief systems surrounding the idea of what it is to orgasm and what it is to experience yourself in a sexual way, because many of you have imposed judgments upon that natural aspect of your physical being.
okay. That answers the question. Is it in regards to ejaculation? It seems to be involuntary sometimes. What is the belief system that reinforces it to be an involuntary action and not a deliberate one?
So you're essentially ejaculating when you are unexpecting?
No, not really. It's more when I'm not trying to make a baby.
All right. Are you referring to simply touching yourself and then having an orgasm?
No, more so when I practice tantra. I notice when I get dull, uh, I'll like the person will do something or move in a certain way, and then I'll ejaculate.
All right.
But it's
Thank
not.
you
It's not.
for
It wasn't an intentional thing when that happens in that way.
Thank you for your clarification. One of the ways you can begin to mitigate this phenomenon is through relaxing the nervous system. Recognizing that when the nervous system is very charged with either a positive emotion or a negative emotion, it creates a hypersensitivity in the system. That does not necessarily equivocate to a negative or unpreferred phenomenon, but sometimes it can. The idea is to allow for the nervous system to become deeply relaxed, first and foremost.
Okay.
When relaxation becomes the energy you're using as the fuel for your nervous system's activity, you will be able to detect when those types of phenomenon are going to occur before they actually occur. And as you begin to experience that level of awareness in your being, you can then channel the energies of relaxation into the sexual organs and into the surrounding musculature. Because oftentimes the musculature surrounding the sexual organs in the lower abdomen or in the legs, the thighs, become very tight and tense, and they begin to squeeze. As they then squeeze, it creates a type of tension within the genitalia that can then promote the idea of ejaculation. So relaxing the system and guiding the relaxation to this area. The breath is the easiest way to tap into this. And imagining that your entire body is the lungs. Recognizing you can breathe very deeply, very slowly throughout the whole body, seeing the entire body as the lungs themselves.
Okay. What about I lost it. I'm gonna ask the next one. You guys,
And you found something else in its place.
you guys experience a knowingness when you guys are meant to have sex with another person or another person on your being on your planet. Uh, so it leads me to believe that horniness is actually a negative emotion or a negative filtration of a knowingness, right?
It's not that it's negative, but what you consider to be horniness is oftentimes an energy that many of you happen to translate in a sexual way based off of your beliefs and the patterns you have built for yourself in relationship to expressing that energy. What you consider to be horniness is a primordial energy, and it is largely asking to be expressed in a way that honors your physicality and your primal nature. Many of you will only express that in a sexual way, but understand connecting with your earth is another way to express it. Creativity is another way to express it. Physical exertion and exercise is another way to express it. Deep breathing, full body breathing is another way to express it. So what you're actually experiencing is primal energy that is looking for a release.
Oh, okay. Um, Are there any recommended permission? I'll give a little bit of backstory to this. I noticed I don't. When I was younger, I did acid. I think a lot of people did, but I thought it was interesting the experiences that you could get from that, and then bring them back, learn how to do it yourself. But one of the things that I've had trouble recreating is when I would do that a long time ago, there would be an emotional release. Like everything that I was holding prior to that, I would cry and let it out, and then I would be, light and ready to do other stuff. Is there any? I have parts of a permission slip that I feel like I received, but it's not fully there to where I can do a meditation that really allows the body to cry. I know that that's finding alignment for more of a negative place, but still centering yourself. Um, do you have anything you can give me on making that really work better?
Remembering that breathing is imperative for emotional release. The idea of breathing represents taking new energy in and letting old energies go. One of the ways you can begin to do this is if you notice that somewhere in your field there is an emotional disturbance, or there is an area where you have the knowingness there is an issue being stored, allow for yourself to breathe into that area. As you breathe into the area, imagine you are breathing from the universe into the area and then through it,
That's
out the other side of your body and into the earth, as if you're washing that aspect of your body with the cosmos and the earth, and let your inhales and exhales be the weaving of energies through that physical structure, through that area of your body, allowing for the breath to go in one side and out the other, from the cosmos to the earth, from the earth to the cosmos. You can even push it down, going from the cosmos into the problem area, into the earth, then out to the universe once more, and then back through the earth, through the body, to the universe again. And the idea is to completely respirate in this way, breathe in this way. And as you feel that that area has begun to release a little bit, let that type of breathing pattern become a full body breathing sensation. And what you'll be doing is you'll be allowing for that area where you have created restriction to then become bathed in the cohesive unity of your entire body consciousness.
Awesome. So my next question is, what is the state often described as desirelessness? What is that really?
It is pointing to the idea of completeness. Okay. When you are complete, the idea is separation becomes just an illusion. You recognize it's not something that's real, and that everything that you require for your next steps is contained within you and therefore is projected into the reality. So there is a knowingness that you never really need anything.
Okay, so
therefore,
it's just a lack
the
of
idea
lack.
of desire becomes completely obsolete.
Is it? Wait. It seems.
Yeah.
It seems like the. But what isn't the desire still there?
It depends on your definition of desire.
Okay. What's the one you use?
We utilize desire in the following way. The knowingness of the direction that best serves you. And then going and taking action on that direction. That is how we define the energies of desire. Many of you create desire in a way where it is based on the idea of lack and something in your reality containing the antidote to that lack.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Any recommended permission slips for experiencing reality, like the nirvanic state? You know what I mean?
Yes, we are familiar with this terminology.
Is that base reality, by the way?
Yes.
Okay.
You have more?
Is that base reality?
It is essentially base reality, yeah.
Okay.
When we say base reality, what we are referring to is the energetics of your innermost being that spawn the external reality experience.
Okay.
So you could say that it is that force, that love, that knowingness of unity that then creates all experiences around you. That is the underlying fabric of all realities. Mm-hmm. With that being said, you then generate from that level a template where the reality then manifests through vibration.
Yeah.
As the reality manifests through vibration, it is fundamentally neutral. So that way consciousness can begin to impose meaning upon it and then create whatever reality experience it prefers, it chooses. But the underlying backbone of that template is the idea of unconditional love, complete and total unity, complete and total oneness.
And,
one of the ways you can begin to experience that is by literally seeing through everything.
Okay.
Recognizing that you can see through the neutrality, you can see through the template, and you can see into the underlying reality as a choice you can make within your consciousness by knowing automatically that that is the underlying fabric of your reality. By knowing what supports your reality, what creates your reality is unconditional love and acceptance and unity, then you can create the belief that you have the ability to see past all aspects of the reality to its basal level.
And is it, when I do that, usually I imagine it as white light. Is that, I know that that's still an image in the mind, though. Is that probably something that would bring me away from the actual experience of it when I imagine it that way, or does it work well enough as a symbol?
It will only bring you away from it if you believe it will do so.
Yeah, I guess I don't.
So recognize that what that is doing is it is allowing for you to tap into the vibrational quality of that underlying reality. At a certain point, visualization may not be required anymore because you'll simply understand the vibration of that underlying basal level. And as we said, the breath is one of the ways you can bring new energies in and let old energies go. When you understand the vibration of that basal level, you can combine that with the breathing, the full body breathing. And what you'll find is that basal level will become accessible in a very visceral way where you'll feel it within every cell of your body.
Okay. And my last question is about the ejaculation thing. Sometimes I notice when I change my belief about ejaculation having to release in that way, it feels like it wants to move back up the spine. Is there any recommended way for encouraging that more? Because it feels like it wants to do that, and then it feels like it stops, and then it goes the other way. Like it'll literally feel like it stops for like almost like longer than it usually would, and then it shoots out. Uh,
Oh, well, remember, you have a little bit of influence over this experience. And the idea is instead of stimulating yourself all the way to ejaculation, allow for yourself to tap in to the feeling of orgasm as you are nearing the ejaculation. And just before you're about to ejaculate, allow for the physical stimulation to cease. Feel that feeling of orgasm, imagining the fluids, feeling the fluids from the prostate and in the testicles. And as you are feeling these energies, begin to imagine you're moving them throughout your body, utilizing breath to guide them. And the idea is there is certain musculature contractions you can make that will help to seal the exit point of those fluids so you can then bring with your intention and your awareness the energies and the fluids to different aspects of your system.
okay. Well, thank you. I guess it's time.
You are infinitely welcome. We thank you for the gift of creation that you are, our unconditional love to all of you and your human family.
Thank
Hey.
Hey, that was great. Thank you so much. Also, to you.
Oh man, you are very, very welcome. Look, we stopped at 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's cool.
12:34. That's great.
Yeah, I was worried I wouldn't get to ask every question, but I did. It was awesome. I asked for help, but yeah, thank you so much again.
You are so welcome, man. It was a pleasure to do this session for you. And yeah, man, I actually used a new technique doing this one, and I feel that it greatly improved the accuracy and the translations of their information. So I felt it was a really nice session. So thank you for being the person that helped to open that door.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I guess you're probably busy, so thank you again, and I'll see you.
Of course. Take care, friend.